All right, it is 10:03. We'll call this meeting to order. Certified we do have a quorum. All 5 members are present. Item number 2 is opening prayer. Kevin, would you mind leading us in an opening prayer? And following that, Commissioner John Clement, will you lead us in the pledges? Everybody please rise.
Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you so much for this day, Lord. We thank you for this community. We thank you for the fact that we can serve this community, Lord. Lord, we just lift up our county, our state, our nation, the world, Lord, to you during this time, Father. Just give us peace and guidance. Lord, show us your love. Lord, we thank you for your forgiveness. We thank you for the blood you shed for our sins, Lord. Lord, we just lift this court up to you, Lord, that all the decisions made here today glorify you. In your precious name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, gentlemen. Item number 5 is public comments. We don't have anybody that's signed up. Item number 6 is the consent agenda. Does anybody have any items they wish to pull?
I make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion by Commissioner Snuggs to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner John Clement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion passes 5-0. Item number 7 is deliberate and consider possible action for EMS regarding recall of infusion pumps. Kevin, you want to tell us what's going on here?
Okay, so we were notified Thursday last week. We went to send our infusion pumps in for normal servicing. We have them tested once a year. And they informed us that there was a level 1 recall from the FDA on our infusion pumps. The infusion pump, if you don't know, that's what we have certain medication we put through, critical medication that has to be within a certain range. At the same day, we were notified from our individuals that fix them that we got the letter from the manufacturer that, again, they were recalled. With the level 1 recall, typically we have to be within 5% of what the dose we're giving. With the pump they have, it's 13%. So for critical medication, it's too high. There's over almost 21,000 of these that are being recalled. All the flight services, all the ambulance services, rural in our county and the state, basically use this. It's a 2-channel pump. It's small, it's convenient. So each one's about $7,800 each. They are asking us to send them back, which we're taking an inventory now to give to Debbie of the county numbers and the serial numbers, and they're going to give us so much per each pump for the recall. And I don't know what that is. They have to evaluate them first, and then they'll come back with a offer of what the amount's going to be. Each one is in impeccable condition. Again, we service them every year. Again, we had no idea until Thursday, and we felt it was important to get on the court to inform you this is what's going on. We don't have a replacement yet. We don't know what we can go with. Again, this is the most common one in EMS and flight services. So at this point, it's really advising you that this came down. It's advising you that we are going to have to replace them at some point. Again, I don't have a price for you today because I don't have a replacement. I think it's going to be like the monitors. It's going to take months to be able to get them because it's going to be everybody that uses them has to pull them. They've been pulled out of service. We've adjusted our protocols with Dr. Lewis. There are certain medications we won't be giving because we have to have a pump to give those medications. So at this point, I think the only action item today is the court approval to be able to send them back to the manufacturer for evaluation. And then we'll bring it to court. I'll bring it to court once we get the evaluation and what they're willing to give us. I would hope there's some room for negotiation, depending if they come back too low. Again, this was totally blindsided every EMS provider in the U.S. Nobody had any idea that this was occurring. So
what do you do? Okay, you can't use it to, what do you replace it with? What do you do?
I don't know at this point. That's what I was saying. We have no idea what.
I know, but.
Huh?
Yeah, so there's some kind of medication, so you won't be able to do certain things?
That is correct. That is correct. They have to go through a pump. They have to go through an infusion pump.
How often does that happen? That may be a crazy question to ask.
No, I don't think so at all. I mean, we probably use the infusion pump probably 2 or 3 times a week. We do use them out of the hospital. With this case, we're working with the hospital to use their pumps on transfers, then take them back to them. They're a lot bigger than what we utilize. We're investigating now, again, we just received this at the end of last week. We're investigating now what the best pump is. These are 2-channel, which means you can do 2 medications at once. The only one we have found that's even somewhat comparable is a 1-channel. So does that mean we have to carry like an extra one on the captain's truck in case we have to have 2 medications, the captain can take it out there? I don't know. We're kind of working through the process. We just don't have answers right now because it literally just happened. So,
How many do we have? Do we know?
10.
We have 10.
Yes, sir.
And this is not like a vehicle recall where they have a fix? Where
They don't have a fix. It's the pump itself, and the manufacturer does not have a pump. And it's not just our model. I think there was 5 or 6 models on the
There's a
paperwork
page
that I
that's got-
gave you.
yeah.
And again, I think it's almost 21,000 across the U.S. that are being recalled. So it's huge.
And we don't have any idea what we're going to get back for each one of these.
Yeah, if you read the letter states in there, you have to send them back. They will evaluate them. They'll come back with a recommendation of what they're going to give us. And again, we probably have probably close to $7,800 invested in each one of them.
When did we purchase these originally?
It varies. We purchased 5 to start with, and then 2, and then 2, and then, so they range between probably 3 and 4 years old.
What's the life cycle on them?
Oh, easily 10 years.
No, but we don't know that the company's going to offer us anything.
Well, in their letter say, we send them back, we evaluate them, we'll tell you how much we give you, type of thing. So, I don't know if at that point, if the county wants to get, the county attorney involved, or, if we just go with what it is. And it's not going to be just us. Again, it's
Yeah.
almost every EMS provider and aircraft provider in the U.S. So,
how long, well, you don't know yet, you're still thinking, I was going to say, how long do you go before you finally have to go buy a pump of some kind?
well, we're going to have to buy a pump, but I think if we're looking at the smaller compact pumps that are 1-channel, so are every other service in the U.S., and the manufacturer's not going to be able to keep up with orders.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to guess we're going to be 6 months to a year out. I mean, that would be my estimate at this point.
Do they just simply quit functioning?
No, they function. The problem is they're outside of the parameters.
Not
FDA
accurate
says,
enough. They're not accurate.
So a 13% error rate or
yeah,
something?
13% error rate.
Yeah.
So
And
calibrations
FDA requires a 5% plus or minus. These are 13% plus or minus. And you use medication like Levofed, you can't be that far out. Yeah, it's too much of a liability, so we pulled them immediately.
So we need to, Shelley, would you like to see us take action to send them back for evaluation, or will we just worry about it whenever we send them in, and then we're sending them to evaluation, and then we'll probably take action whenever we know what our price point would be.
Yeah.
So, but Kevin and I talked about it on Thursday morning, wanted to go ahead and get it on court to get everybody in the loop on what's going on.
I mean, because unless we're gonna buy something from them, we can't say offer them as trade-in.
Yeah, because we don't know.
Because we don't know
Yeah.
what we're buying.
Right, and it won't be
We don't
from
know
them.
how much they've offered us, so.
Yeah, at this point, we're just sending them in for evaluation.
Right.
And we did speak to them because they do make compact pumps, and they're at least 6 or 8 months. They're working on a new pump to send it to the FDA, and then how long is the FDA process? And so CME is not going to have a pump available to be able to purchase anytime soon, so we're going to have to go with a different manufacturer.
And we don't have a list to surplus them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, right now, all you can say is send them in for evaluation.
No. Does that need to be an action item? No? Okay.
So 7 would be no action, but just making sure court's aware. I'm going to go ahead and, before you run off, Kevin, I know I'm going to go ahead and pick up the supplemental which is deliberate and consider possible action regarding CARES Act provider relief funds from HHS stimulus through Emergicon. This is, I don't know if you have the better explanation or if Shelley does on this is $47,697.32 that was sent to the county. And my understanding this is part of the CARES Act.
It's part of the stimulus package that any Medicare provider is receiving a certain amount of funds. To the best of my knowledge, everything I've read, there's no.
There's not any, I know Shelley, you looked at this.
I
There's,
printed it out.
okay.
Yeah.
Is there, I mean, do we have to do anything on our part other than saying we accept the money and continue to provide services, essentially, my understanding?
What I gave you on, doesn't have to be repaid. It can only be, we can't bill patients for the part insurance doesn't pay for.
Which we don't anyway.
We don't anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
We have to certify that we're not going to spend it on anything non-COVID related.
So in essence, it could cover the PPE and a lot of the things.
Cover a lot of the costs
Yeah.
that,
The testing that we're coming up with, it's not covered, so.
Infusion pumps.
I don't know, can we cover infusion pumps out of that? I mean,
It
no.
it was sent because we filed for the Medicare
Yeah.
reimbursement.
Yeah,
You just have to be careful what you spend it on.
yeah, that's the main thing.
Need a motion?
Yes.
Make a motion, we approve accepting the money.
We have a motion by Commissioner Leon Clement, second by Commissioner Snuggs. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Kevin. Item number,
It was sent to our collection agents because they're the ones that collect the
That's-
Medicare payments.
that's where the money comes through.
Yeah, so we have to notify.
So you want me to notify them or do you notify?
No, you go ahead. Yeah.
Very good, thank
We
you.
have to notify Emergicon that we accept
yeah.
that, so they can accept it on our behalf. Sorry.
You're fine. Item number 8 is deliberate consider possible action regarding annex remodel. Ricky couldn't be here today. I know there's a possible jail inspection going on, so he was out at the Justice Center. I know the little build out is, of course, that's another agenda item. So what we talked about, I believe, last court was the Komatsu architectural design quote here for services. I did speak with them. They did make some modifications to the total amount and brought it down by approximately, I think, $16,000. They did not have the name of who they were using for their
ADA.
ADA services. But didn't know if court was more acceptable on this price point or whether we wanted to.
It sounds kind of like when you read the last paragraph that they're saying, you know, we'll design you something, but you can pretty much bid it out yourself. Are they, I mean, would they not have any input or oversight into this? Is that how you read it, Shelley, or?
It sounds like to me that they won't have any construction review.
Oversight.
And we talked about possibly using somebody that would allow or follow up or oversee construction manager at risk, and it sounds like that's what they're not willing to provide, maybe?
Well, I mean, they're going to have to provide the bid specs, and we'll bid it out.
But then they're basically hands
But-
off at that
And they're
point.
hands off after that point.
Right. But they would, I mean, we're going to have to rely on them to answer questions because they're the ones that are, they're the ones that are designing it and have the
Yeah.
plans. And so if the contractor has a question about something on the plans, they're going to have to be available to answer questions. So I don't, I don't understand that I don't understand the paragraph or the sentence or their meaning. I don't understand that.
Might want to go back and get some clarification on
Yeah,
that.
try to figure out exactly what they're,
I couldn't hear you.
I said, they might want to go back and get some clarification before we even sign up for this.
Clarification, I heard you now. I thought you were talking to somebody named Clara, is what I...
they have.
Might have been.
I mean, I think they need to be involved during the construction phase.
I don't think they have to be to a certain
Well,
extent.
I mean, just like they're going to go sub their services, or they're going to go solicit input from these engineering firms.
Yeah.
Unless we then go back, or the contractor goes back and starts calling these engineering firms, then they're going to want to send us a bill. Then we need to understand what they're doing. I'd say we take no action.
Unless anybody else has got anything, I'll get some clarification on that. Item 8 will be no action. Item 9 is deliberate consider possible action regarding improvements to Commissioners Courtroom. One of the big improvements to discuss is potential carpet for the seating area for the public. We have a carpet rectangle? Plank.
I think it's called a
A
plank.
carpet plank that is sitting up here.
We could all walk the plank every day, full court.
Well, I hear tell that my maintenance man didn't quite have the story straight on the carpet that I spent, 2 or 3 hours looking at the other day. They're not squares, they're planks.
The planks, so this
Which
is,
the question was, why are they in a plank, why aren't they in a square? Well, that's just a sample, okay.
And they can't get the square?
no, this is the way they come. This
That's
is
the way it
piece of
comes.
That particular type.
Yeah.
If we got anything over here we're trying to match it to with the plank work and the.
We're going to use
annex
this
it.
in both of them.
I know, but I mean, if we got in the bind, could we use this to annex anything? Are there any other squares over there nearby
No.
that causes the contrast?
I didn't talk to Rick. Did you talk to
I
Rick?
talked to him briefly this morning. Like I said, there's a jail inspection that looks like it's going on today, so he had to be out there. You're correct that this is the shape that this particular sample comes in, or this particular design comes in. He did also say that we talked last court about a thicker base. He said that he talked with her on Friday, the sales lady. They said they do offer that in the exact same colors and everything else, but he didn't have a price on that today. They're supposed to be sending a sample of that.
Why didn't we find that the first time?
I don't know.
Well, I talked to Rick briefly this morning. That's how I know that's called a plank now. And I don't know, my impression, there was some miscommunication since he brought up the cushion. The squares have a totally different name than just carpet squares. And it's possible that we may be getting the squares with the proper backing with the adhesive. So we're waiting on the next samples, I'm assuming.
You said thicker base, you mean like a thicker pile, or?
You know, the bottom, the
rubber part at the bottom would be bigger.
One blues, one doesn't.
The ones we have in the courthouse now have a thicker.
they're a lot thicker. But he took the number and all the information off the back of the spares that we have and got a hold of these folks, and they said that isn't made anymore. No one makes it that thick anymore. And
now apparently.
that's how we ended up with this. And it was noted that, hey, some of these are square, some of these are different, and he said they're samples.
I was thinking he found maybe a source for the thicker again.
Well, I think it's the same company has the thicker. They just didn't. There was a breakdown in communication on the original.
So in other words, we need to wait till Ricky's free to come back.
Well, maybe.
Explain further.
Yeah, there's.
That's a
hopefully by
possibility.
then we'll have a sample of the thicker.
It'll be pink.
It may not be the same color. Well, yeah.
Anyway.
I don't necessarily have any issues with that color.
No, the color's good, I think.
Color's fine.
Color's fine, but I don't know if you can get that.
I don't know if that.
I have no idea.
The joys of carpet.
Well,
So that's the only improvement that I think we're at imminent discussion on
the
Commissioner's
rooms,
Court.
are they about finished over there? No, you're not to that one. You're
We're not to that one. We'll get to that one in a
Okay,
minute.
yeah, never mind.
Any other discussion on item 9? If not, it will be no action. Item 10 is deliberate and consider possible action regarding cybersecurity training for courthouse employees. Elizabeth, you want to talk to this just briefly and kind of let us know where everybody's at?
Do you have the list?
I don't have the list. So we have 70% of our employees have completed it. There's about 10 to 12 departments, I guess, that are missing people here and there. But everybody in each department has worked on it some, if not completed it. And they have until June 14th to complete it, so I plan mid-May or so to start following up and sending out reminders.
Can you verify whether or not precinct 1 is complete?
I can look when I get upstairs and let you know.
Because I think we are, so if we're not, please let me know, but I think
Okay.
we're done.
Now, did we not receive a second email of a second training course that was supposed to be a fictitious
We did.
security violation?
You did, yes, or we did.
So, because I think I picked up on receiving that, and
And there is no second training.
Just the one.
Yeah, there's just the one.
I'm in there twice as an admin and as an employee.
I didn't
but-
catch that,
But
okay.
I'm under Shelley and I'm under Julie,
Okay,
so I get 2 notifications.
okay.
Then you have to take it twice.
Okay,
Is Julie your middle name?
Pass it twice.
yes.
That's it twice.
Shelley Julie Atterbury, okay.
So I don't know if,
I'll fix it, I'll deactivate one.
okay. Thank you. So that'll drop the count. I haven't done one of them. I haven't done either one of them, so.
Well, and that may be a...
so we still investigating going further to cybersecurity. One time we talked about having another private company or something set up for the county. This is all through TAC right now.
We do, and Darrell has done a couple of those little tests using KnowBe4, I believe was the company. And there are some, and we can have him, I don't think he's sitting in here today, have him come in and talk about, I know they've ran a couple of them, but then that all kind of started, I think, first part of April. So there's been 2 or 3 of those fake phishing emails to try to see how many people are clicking on them. And so that is going on as well to try to, and I think those numbers were better than, he said that they had a minimum number of people that actually fell, something like only 3 people clicked on it, which is actually really good compared to most counties are, significantly higher, double digit. So our employees understand when fake emails may be coming, which is good because that's how you get in the systems and completely wreck stuff. But we can have him come and talk about kind of where that process is too, because I think it's an ongoing awareness that needs to continue to happen. Anything further on cybersecurity? If not, number 10 will be no action. Thank you, Elizabeth. Item 11, deliberation regarding status and future needs for new CPS court and considering possible action regarding the same. I'm assuming we're going to wait on the carpet for the same reasons why we wait on the Commissioners Court carpet. The rooms are, Ricky and I spoke about this just briefly this morning. I think they're sheetrocking them and they are coming along, should actually be painted soon, I think. That's the question, is what color paint?
Depends on the carpet square.
Depends on the carpet square. But first you got to get carpet squares, not carpet planks.
Carpet, yeah.
There'll be some type of white or off-white one.
Well, there's 2 pretty neutral colors, I think, in that room. And if you painted either one of those colors, I know you looked at it.
When we were looking at the carpet, that was the question. He said we're going to use that same cream color that was on the west and the south and the back behind the court bench and everything. Well, I don't know if that one's cream colored or not, but it's a different, lighter version of this. And he said that's what they were going to paint it all. I said, okay, sounds good to me.
But yeah, there's some neutral colors, so it's.
Yeah,
Be painted the same color as what the surrounding.
existing
Yeah.
wall is,
Not painted hot pink or anything.
not hot pink.
Unless we get hot pink carpet.
Unless we get hot pink carpet, which, you know, right
Too
now,
much hot pink to do the walls and the carpet.
right now, nothing would surprise me.
But it will make people mellow. Pink's proven to make people
I'm
mellow.
telling you. Hey, you used to be pink in this building, remember? Have you forgotten that?
In the courtroom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and in the rotunda, it really was.
Oh, yeah, you're right. There was some.
Everybody forgot about
People
that.
mellow.
Keep people.
That's why I keep making the pink jokes. There's a history there.
So 11 will be no action unless anybody else has got anything else. Item 12 is deliberation regarding possible action for approval of resolution approving submission of grant application for coronavirus emergency supplemental funding program. I believe that's in there. This is that grant that we approved last court. It just has to have a resolution that goes with it. Standard resolution.
We're getting pretty fancy on the fonts.
I know. Harder fonts make you read it more
Oh,
thoroughly.
is that what it is?
Are we going to approve this?
Statistically proven.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Hollowell, second by Commissioner Leon Clement. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes 5-0.
I'll make sure before I signed it.
Item 13, deliberate and consider possible action regarding County Transportation Infrastructure Fund Grant, or CTIF. You get anything, we need to get an application in on this. I know
I was looking last night, I got mine all ready to go. Do we have the amount? I couldn't find the amount in any of the emails.
the amount was in that first one, first packet.
Like 447.
Okay.
Yeah, we've
That's
got to get
four-
that in
yeah.
the next couple of weeks. We don't have much time left.
Do you need the exact amount?
No, that's close enough.
He probably ain't going to get 25% of it anyway, time we shave him, a little off here and there.
$447,954. And the application will end on May 27th, so we need to go ahead and, the acceptance period is open now, so
Sooner we get it in, the sooner we get it approved.
sooner we, so hopefully I'm assuming you guys have been working on figuring out roads and amounts.
I have 2.
I'm in the process of getting mine together.
So we'll keep
I'll
it.
email mine to you in just a second.
So hopefully we'll be able to get some action on that, maybe as soon as next Monday. Any other questions or comments on 13? Item 14 is deliberate and consider possible action regarding FEMA Grant 2015 flood. Have anything new to report?
Still working it.
That's nothing.
I think I stole it from you to write on.
Did we get the corrections on the extension?
I'm sorry.
Did we get the corrections on the extension?
I think.
She sent it in, but hasn't heard back from them yet.
Hadn't heard back.
I didn't get copied on it. Can I get it?
Yeah, I'll tell her to send it to you.
Okay, thank you.
If nothing else, item 14 would be no action. Item 15, executive session in compliance with Texas Open Meetings Act 551 of the Government Code, personnel matters, consultation with attorney, and deliberation regarding security devices or audits. It is 10:32, and we will recess into executive. Okay, it is 10:56. We are back in regular session. Item 16 is deliberate and consider possible action regarding FEMA grant COVID-19. I don't have anything additional on the grant itself, unless anybody else does. Hearing no action, 16 will be no action. 17 is deliberate and consider possible action regarding public health emergency declaration for COVID-19. Don't have any new action, as everybody knows or should know, because we did have 5 or less cases. Cooke County was able to open up to 50% capacity or occupancy for restaurants and most restaurants and most retail, not including a few that were limited in the governor's order itself. Just kind of want to reiterate that that's subject to some triggers. So if a few of the triggers in there actually do happen, if we see a substantial increase, we may be forced to go down to 25%. And then the governor's phase 2 and all that is conditioned upon testing results statewide. So just because we're able to open up to 50% at those establishments doesn't mean that this isn't still a very serious situation, and everybody needs to be doing their part on social distancing and making sure to make responsible healthcare decisions as this thing progresses. Anybody else have anything else on don't have any new action on public health declaration, but do want to reiterate the importance. Item 17 will be no action. Item 18 is deliberate and consider possible action on personnel, and we do not have any. Action 19 is future agenda items. Anybody have anything?
We'll keep the carpet on there
Carpet? Yeah.
and everything else. The carpet squares, not planks.
You got to put the communication.
Yeah, I think
feedback on there.
we'll
Tower.
try to put that communication on next court.
Are we going to continue every Monday?
I think the plan, or my plan at the moment is, so this was a not original scheduled court, so I think we'll do one more on the 18th, and then and that basically gets us through the month anyway, and then go back to regular starting 1st June. So we'll meet the 11th, 18th, and then, well, the 25th is a holiday, so we meet the 26th, but, and then unless something dramatic changes, we'll go back to meeting twice a month in June. And we can always meet on a quicker timetable if it's an emergency situation and we need to be able to do so.
And they hadn't put a timeline on the declaration, right?
They
That's
hadn't.
covered by the declaration, and there's no,
Well, yeah, it just says if it's an emergency situation or something that, yeah, you can do that. So we can meet as long as the state and us are both under that emergency declaration, then the protocols will be in place. And also, on the 18th, we'll probably go back to allowing public to a certain extent in here with proper distancing. Because of the fact that there's limited spacing, I would strongly encourage us to continue to stream it to allow people that don't want to, because of health reasons, get in here, or because of the not a lot of spacing.
I'm hoping the streaming permanent.
yeah,
Well, we'll have that discussion at another, but for the time being, I think that, so if somebody that doesn't want to put themselves in the potential of harm's way, and well, you do have potential limited seating in here, to be able to continue to just watch it on YouTube.
we should have talked about that during Commissioner Court improvements, which was an agenda item.
But well, that'll be back on here next week. But I just think for the time being, for sure, and then going forward, we might look at it as well.
Well, if we're going to do it permanently, we better come up with a better way.
Yeah, we need to.
But I'd like to see us do that, just like they used to do the council meetings. I guess they still do on Channel 3 or something.
Something like that. But that's a discussion for another day at the moment. That's all I've got. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
We got a motion by Commissioner John Clement. Second by Commissioner Snuggs. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let's have it. Motion passes 5-0. Thanks, gentlemen.
Don't leave, Gary.
He needs to tell you about your Whitesboro, dude.